Hi, in this module, we are talking about stakeholder management. The definition of a stakeholder is pretty broad when it comes to PMBOK. Who is a stakeholder of a project? Anybody who is affected positively or negatively by doing a project or by not doing it is a stakeholder. Anybody who is affected positively or negatively by doing a project or by not doing it or by delaying it is a stakeholder. So it could be the project manager is definitely a stakeholder. The sponsor is definitely a stakeholder. Team members are definitely stakeholders. End users are typically stakeholders. Competitors are stakeholders. Government agencies are stakeholders. So it's a very wide spectrum. Because once I was talking to a project manager who was involved in the construction of one of the tallest towers in this world. So I asked him, now do you even consider terrorist groups as a stakeholder? He said yes, because every high-rise building in this world is a target for terrorism. And if you don't identify terrorist groups as a stakeholder, when you construct the building, there will not be security systems built into it, and it can become useless useless for use. So that way, the stakeholder management is a very broad spectrum. Again, you take the Tata Nano car project in India, which is supposed to happen in the Singur village, and the local farmers were affected because of the land acquisition, and the project manager failed to manage the demands of the poorest of the poor farmers. And when these farmers joined hands with the politicians, they became high power. And towards the end, the project had to be shifted from West Bengal to Gujarat, which incurred a lot of loss to the Tata Group. Maybe with a fraction of that cost, they could have managed the stakeholders very well. So, especially when you go for very large implementations, the stakeholder management is very critical. It is about identifying the stakeholders, understanding their requirements, catering to those understood requirements. It is a broad spectrum. So uh, during initiation, within the second process under initiation is developing a stakeholder register, and then we have to develop a project a stakeholder management strategy, because every stakeholder cannot be treated the same way. So stakeholders can be segmented further based on their interest on your project, and as well as their authority levels to influence the project outcomes. So we may have four categories, that is high power, high interest group. So these are the guys who have tremendous interest in your project, and they're very powerful. This segment has to be managed very closely. And there is another group of people who are high power, but they don't have a lot of interest in your project, but still they should get a monthly update of the project. And there could be a lot of people who are not very powerful, but at the same time they have a lot of interest in your project, typically the end users of the product of your project. They have to be managed. They should be part of maybe the beta programs, and they should get a quarterly update at least. Otherwise, because these are the opinion leaders, if 10 of them say that the project's outcome is bad, then that becomes bad. So you have to manage them. At the same time, there is another segment called low power, low interest group, or you don't spend a lot of time there, so you can just ignore them. So stakeholder management is very critical for the project success, and it has to happen along with the project initiation, where you identify the key stakeholders, come out with the stakeholder register, prioritize them, then have strategies to deal with them which are incorporated as part of your plan, and during execution you execute them. So it is very important to understand your stakeholders, because it is those stakeholders, they are the reason for you having the project. So don't forget it. Thank you very much.